Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is John C. Morley. I'm president of the Franklin Lakes Chamber of Commerce. And today we are hosting another one of our Getting Back to Business educational series. I want to thank you all for coming out today. This is going to be an amazing event. We have Nadene Joy here, who, if you don't know who Nadene Joy is, well, you're in for a, let's just say, a real treat today. Nadene Joy is one of the top in her field. She is a coach. She's an expert. She is actually an author of a very interesting book, which she's going to be telling you about a little later. I won't let the cat out of the bag. But most importantly today, she's going to be sharing something with you, which is how to get unstuck. How many of you in life actually want to do something, but maybe you can't because somebody says something, maybe you stop yourself, self-sabotage. And so again, we have a really good presentation, but before I get started with the actual presentation, I want to let you know that we're going to be having a really good event, which I'll tell you more about later in the event. We're actually going to be having a virtual table-to-table networking, which is going to be happening in September. We hold every second Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m. We host all different kinds of events. In October, we'll be doing a one-on-one mixer. For more information on how you can find those events, you can just text the word NET, N-E-T-E-V-E-N-T-S, to 888-111, and you'll be greeted with our VIP message service. And without any further ado, Nadene Joy.
Right. Okay. Welcome everybody. Can you hear me? Was it off on mute? Yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay, well, thank you so much, John, for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here today to be speaking on this topic right now that's so prevalent in our world, going through COVID times, uncertain times, and I'm excited. We have some great things planned for the day. We're going to be going through some breakout sessions, doing some information, really having some great background information on purpose. So I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about my own journey and how I found my own life purpose. And I'm not sure, some of you know this story, some of you don't, but I want to share it anyway. So I was a geologist in corporate for about over a decade. I worked my way to the top of the corporate ladder, and over years of working in corporate, I started getting sick. I worked 24/7. I was the head of, drilling $1 million of worth of wells that we were working on. And over the course of the years, I got really sick. And by the time I was 27 years old, I had to retire my career as a geologist. I got so sick, I almost died. And this was my greatest blessing in disguise, because it really brought me back to who I was. And we're going to be talking a little bit about this. So what I experienced going through my own journey and my own life was that I was in a career. I graduated top of my class, won all these awards, did all these prolific things right out of school, when I was early 20s. But I didn't recognize that I was being drawn to a path that wasn't necessarily my own path. It was a path that I had based on society, parents, counselors. I started out, my very first thing I wanted to do in university was psychology. I went and talked to a counselor, and they said, in order to be a psychologist, you basically need to have your PhD, and the only jobs that are out there is to be a research professor. And at the time, I let that one person skew me into, okay, well, I guess I won't be a psychologist. And now 20 some years later, I'm working in the field of psychology, working with people, have worked with clients all over the world, worked with prolific leaders, written a book called Uncover Your Purpose, Heal and Share Your Gifts with the World. And it was all because I recognized my worth was being defined externally versus internally. And we're going to get into this a little bit more in our talk today, and how that really relates to our purpose and how we define who we really are in society. So I'm going to start off by asking you a question. So I just want you to put in the chat, if you can let me know if you have like a definition of what you think purpose is. We're going to start by defining purpose. So if you just put in the chat, whatever you think purpose is, just write, if it's a word, a sentence, whatever you think it is, you can write that in the chat. We're going to start off by clearly defining what purpose actually is. So yeah, that's great. Why are we here? That's a great question. And that's a great place to start. So it's one thing that I have spent a lot of time working on, and it's simply, what the definition I've come up with is, it's simply your life's message that you wish to share with others in the world during your life here on earth. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar that there's more than one word for purpose. So there's actually 3 different words that mean something very similar to purpose that are sometimes perceived as something that's different. And it's all our perception about things, right? So the 3 different terms that I've found is life direction is another one, purpose statement, or even life mission. So these are 3 terms that we can, interchange with purpose in our life. And just wanted to really talk a lot about that there's 83% of people globally that believe that they have some sort of purpose in their life. Not necessarily a life purpose, but some sort of purpose in their life. And this is something that's really important to remember as we move on in our journey learning more about purpose today. So we're going to go through. So John, we're just going to get John to pull up. We're going to do our first poll. So the question is, do you believe you have discovered your purpose in life? And I'm just curious, maybe you're 100% sure, yes, I have, maybe no, I have no idea what my purpose is, or maybe you're not sure. Maybe you think you've discovered maybe part of your purpose, or you're part of, your reason why you're here on earth to share with others. So I just want you to select whatever answer pops up there. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that too and the results, because a lot of people, you think that they have to find a life purpose and something that is really clearly defined as something that's big. And our purpose doesn't have to be something that's big where we change millions of people. It can be something small as, what is your purpose for the day? We're going to be talking more a little bit about that. So it really talks about when you have purpose, it's when you start living consciously. So we all know about our conscious and unconscious mind. Our unconscious mind is, the part of our brain that is programmed from the time, we're 0 to 7 years old as we grow up, that basically imprints patterns and beliefs and systems into our being as truth. And as we grow older, sometimes those beliefs aren't necessarily aligned with who we really are. So we start living out of alignment with who we are. And this is what happened with me as a geologist. I liked what I did, but it wasn't my passion. I wasn't helping anybody. And I knew from the time I was 4 years old that I was meant to help people and to make a difference, transforming lives for the world. And yet I was in this profession where I wasn't doing that. So there was a disconnect between what I truly knew in my heart and what I was doing. So this disconnect and alignment. And we're going to focus on when we're living with a purposely filled life, we live consciously. So we're living from our conscious, not from our reprogrammed past unconscious mind. So I'm going to go through a little bit here about, so when you have no purpose. So if you want to write this down, these are some very great, guidelines to look at when you're in purpose, when you're not in purpose, and how to determine, whether you are or whether you aren't. So when you're living your life and your day, not in purpose, kind of just going by the flow, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm looking at all of these different things here. So it's usually more vague. Usually you don't have many goals. You might have a few, but they're not clearly defined, not really clear plans as to what you're doing, whether it's for the day, the week, the month, the year ahead. And just really almost like there's randomness and procrastination that happens a lot. Constantly busy with distractions is also something that is a really good sign. So it's really important to recognize these signs when you're not in purpose. So when you have a clear purpose, on the other hand, you have clear goals, clear plans, and clear daily actions. So I want you to really take note of that, daily actions, not life, but daily actions, and actions that we can bring into our life in each and every moment that lead to, your purpose for the week, your purpose for the month, your purpose for the year, your purpose for the decade. And then eventually, leading these one step, one day at a time, little small purposes lead to a larger mission, like a life mission and purpose that you can carry with you for the rest of your life and where you go and impact the people that were there. So if anybody hasn't voted from our first question, I just encourage you to put your vote in there for our first question. So I just have another question for you as we move on here. I just want you to put it in the chat box now. I'm just curious, how many of you are currently working in a career right now that you would consider, your purpose, or something you absolutely love doing, or something that you thought as a child that you would be doing when you quote unquote grew up? So I'm just curious, because many times we have visions, we have dreams, we have things as a child that we really wanted to do when we grew up, but it was really something that, you know, got lost along the way as we grew up. We got busy, you know, we kind of lost our focus. We might have even just landed a job just simply because your parents' friend or somebody offered you this job. It was the first job that was there, you took it, but it wasn't necessarily something you loved doing. So I guess when we're looking at that, I want to talk a little bit about something, and I don't know if any of you have heard of this before, but it's called a false imposed purpose. And this is something that is basically defined by the choices you're given, and most times as a child, but it can be as an adult as we grow up too, to pick from and choose out of this, or this. These are your options. These are the options that are out there. You don't recognize that there's other options, that the sky is the limit as to what you can do in your life to bring in more purpose for yourself, and also to bring others to help them find their purpose. That can be, you know, society, friends, parents, counselors, acquaintances that you meet, various people that influence, you know, who you really are and what you want to do in your life with your purpose. Okay, so we're just going to get results from the first poll here and see what our results are. So just curious here. So interesting. Okay. So we had 55% of you here that said you've discovered your purpose in life, 9% who has said no, and then 36 who said maybe you're not sure. So that's very interesting. That's very, you guys are out of the norm, because in globally, the result for most people who think they found their purpose or living their purpose is a lot lower than that. So I commend you guys for doing what you're doing and for being here to learn more about how to, you know, expand your purpose, or maybe help more people with that as well. So we're talking about a false imposed purpose. And so that's something that, you know, you follow a particular, for examples that would be, you know, you have a belief as, you know, you might want to earn a lot of money when you grow up, you know, continue a family business, you have, you know, your father or mother that they did, and you just kind of take that over, following a particular religion, or maybe just because you were born into it, that you just believe a certain way. So these are some examples, and these are something I just wanted to bring an awareness about in our life that many times we don't recognize control the way that we live our life and the way we show up in the world. So I want you to, we're going to go into our first breakout room. So we're going to be doing a few breakout rooms here today. So the first question here, we're going to have, believe we have about 5 minutes for a breakout room for each, and we have about, you know, 30 to 30 seconds or so for you to share this with the others, just briefly. So the question is, I want you to ponder here is, you know, can you think of anywhere in your life where you've been operating on a false imposed purpose from your life, from your culture, from your parents, from society? And I just want you to briefly talk about, you know, what that is, where that is, and just maybe give a couple really brief examples. So we're going to go out into a breakout room now. Like I said, we're just going to have 5 minutes. It's going to be a very quick breakout. Just do some, you know, can introduce yourself, let each other know where you're from, and then let them know if you've noticed this in your life, and then we can come back and then we'll discuss our findings. So John's going to break you guys out into groups here. You're going to just be randomly assigned. So again, asking each other and talking a little bit more about if you've noticed a false imposed purpose in your life in any way.
Okay, here we go, everybody. Hi, Betty. How are you? Good. We didn't lose anybody. Everybody's coming back. That's great. How did everybody like that? Was that good? Give us a thumbs up if you like that. You can just give us where it says reaction. Give us a thumbs up if you like that, or an applause if you actually like that next to your button there on the bottom.
Anything anybody noticed or recognized that, you know, you might not have thought of that somebody else had brought up in the group? If you want to share that in the chat too, that would be great. I know in our group, we had an amazing group. This was phenomenal. And one thing that came up was the purpose of our family and being a mom and being a dad and being a grandpa or grandma, and how important that is, right? Many times we think of our purpose as being career driven, but something I think that's important and overlooked is the, you know, the ability to impact the younger generation as something that's a really important purpose that many times we overlook that. So, and another thing that came up in my group was detachment. Yeah, just being able to detach sometimes and just let go and allow things to happen. Sometimes things show up in unexpected ways that you would never imagine. Yeah, so I liked how some people's purposes may not be their paid job. It's something that is a passion, like a side job or hobby. Yeah. Oh, exactly. Right. That's exactly it. Because many times we might be in a job and we have a passion on the side or purpose on the side, and we never know. Sometimes I've met people, I've had clients who they've had that for years, and all of a sudden their passion turned into their full-time job because they loved it so much. So you just never know when, you know, your passion and your purpose in your life is going to show up and what direction that's going to lead to. So yeah, that's great. I'm glad that you guys all had a good revelations with that. So the next thing I want to talk about is there's actually 6 traits. If you guys want to take notes of this, these are some really good tips as to living your purpose. So the top 6 traits globally in how to live your purpose and live with meaningful purpose, because it's not necessarily just living about purpose, it's living with meaningful purpose each and every moment of every day. So number 1, you have a conscious choice to follow you know, the part of you that, you know, wants to move towards something or away from something. So making a choice to grow consciously each and every day is number 1. Number 2, that it comes from within you. So I talked a little bit about my story about being a geologist, working in that field in corporate for a while, and now as a coach, consultant, trainer, leadership trainer. And so my example of this one is, you know, when I was a geologist, I was living from the outside in. And then now I'm aligned with my purpose, my mission, my passion here on life, which is coming from the inside out. So we always want to try and focus on, you know, living from the inside out. Also that, you know, it's not an expectation. You do it because you want to, not because you're told to by anybody else. You follow your own instinct, your own intuition, your own guidance. Number 4 is driven by love. So it's something, it's always, your purpose is always goes back to love. You know, driven by love. Like today's, I wanted to mention this too, is it's very interesting to me. I believe that there's no coincidences in life. Things happen for a reason. We meet people for a reason. Each and every one of you who is here for a reason. And I just found this out on Monday this week, that today is actually Mother Teresa's, or would have been Mother Teresa's 110th birthday. And I thought, what a perfect day to be talking about purpose on, you know, one of the greatest role models and icons of our time, that demonstrated such passionate love and purpose and, you know, servant leadership in our world. Yeah, it's very interesting, right? But no coincidence that happened, just as well, why you're here as well. Number 5 would be something that inspires you. So what inspires you? What makes you happy? What brings you joy? There's always things, you know, thinking about what makes you happy. What did you do as a child, you know, that you no longer do now as an adult, that maybe you've gotten too busy to do? Focusing on something like that to bring that back into your life is very important. And then creating something that's of lasting meaning and fulfillment. So something that makes you feel fulfilled. Again, not necessarily because you get a reward, but simply because you choose to do this in this moment is super, super empowering, and intrinsic. By having that intrinsic motivation is very important. So we're talking a little bit about purpose and being stuck. So there's actually a few things in life that I've found with coaching people around the world, and that basically 4 things that I found that keep you stuck. So we're going to talk about these 4 things in a little bit of detail. Again, we talked a little bit about the first one already. Living from the outside in instead of the inside out is one of the biggest reasons, you know, that keeps you stuck where you are from identifying and moving to the next level and uncovering your purpose. Number 2 would be you look for a career instead of looking what fulfills you and brings you joy. Again, we talked a little bit on that one. Number 3, this is one of the most important ones, and we're actually going to do some exercise, short, brief exercises on this one. You hate silence. So many of us, and I've worked with so many people now, that it's very difficult for them just to sit in silence and just listen and just be in the present moment. There's so much right now in the world going on with COVID, uncertainties with, you know, everything that's happening. When we choose to consciously relive things that have happened in our past, many times we don't recognize that that's what makes us feel sad, feel depressed, you know, feel like there's, you know, this hopelessness. But when we focus on, you know, worrying about the future and what's to come, that creates anxiety. So there's actually, start thinking about, you know, what it is that when you're sitting in silence, you know, where are your thoughts? What are your thoughts saying to you? Where are they taking you? Are you focused on the past, you know, reliving the past? Are you focused on the future, worrying about what's going to happen next? Or are you purely here in the now, in the moment? And when you enable yourself to be in the moment is when you have true lasting peace, which is where we want to get to. When you have peace, living in the moment, living in silence, taking that time out of your day to spend with just yourself. It's really important to embrace this and just really trust and surrender as to what shows up when you're in silence here as well. So, and the number 4 is, so this is another one that's really interesting. You dislike the dark side of yourself, or the shadow part of yourself. We all have light, we all have dark within us, and it's honoring all of those parts of us, right? That keeps us, you know, in alignment, in purpose. And when we start focusing more on, you know, and being scared of, or, you know, not liking or labeling that darker part and those voices inside of you, it really keeps us stuck from going to the next thing. So we're going to do a next question now. So we're going to do poll number 2. John, if you can bring up poll number 2. This is an exploration question, and it's all about, you know, what keeps you stuck. So if we can do this second poll question here. Yeah, we'll just see. So there's some answers there. So I just want you to pick one that's not true. So if you see one there that's not true, I just want you to choose that one. So these are all the selections. You live from the inside in, not the inside out. You look for a career before you listen for a calling. You're both a business and consumer. You hate loud noises. You dislike the dark side of yourself, or you do value the unconscious mind. So there's one there that's not true. The other ones are all true. So just choose the one that you think is the most true. We'll just give you a minute to do that. So we're actually going to do, once you guys have answered the poll there, we're actually going to do a brief exercise for 60 seconds. So if you have a piece of paper beside you, a pen and paper, you can be able to just take a pen and paper, and I want you to draw just a circle, like a black circle or a pen with a circle on it. If you don't have a pen and paper, that's fine. I want you to pick an object that's in front of you, and we're going to practice just purely focusing on an object on this circle in front of you. So you can put the paper up, hold the paper up, or just focus on an object if you don't have a paper to draw a circle for 60 seconds in silence. So I want you just to notice what comes up when you're noticing that. So notice as your thoughts. Are you worrying about, you know, what you have to do after this, where you were before here? You know, just really notice your thoughts that come up. So we're going to do this now. I'm going to time it for 60 seconds, and I want you to completely let go of your thoughts. Just be here in the now and focusing on the dot or the object in front of you, and just allow whatever comes up to be present, and to allow that openness to bring in, focusing on just, you know, letting go and surrendering in this process. So I'm going to just let you guys be in silence here for 60 seconds, and we'll see what comes up. All right, so that's 60 seconds. So I'm just going to get you to put that down. And just, if you have any comments about what came up for you in the chat box, did you find your mind wandering? Did you notice anything? So this is an exercise that you can do every day. Even if you just choose 60 seconds, you can choose, 10 minutes. Ideally, we would want to spend, 10 or 15 minutes just purely focusing on something. So the ability to focus intently is something that is very much missing in most of our lives due to busyness, overwhelm, all of the things that we have on our plate each and every day. And it's important to give yourself this space to just allow whatever to show up, to allow the miracles, the blessings, the guidance to come through. So we're just going to share the poll results now here from our second poll that we did. All right, so the top reasons, yes, okay, perfect. So we had 8%, you live outside in, not the inside out, you look for a career. Before you listen for calling, 33%, both business and consumer, 8%, hate loud noises. 33%, you just like the dark side of yourself, 8%, and you devalue the unconscious by 8%. Oh, so that's interesting. Yeah, there's quite a range across there. So it's actually, you hate loud noises because that's something you want to get to the point where you want to be able to honor the silence, right? And when you don't like, the loud noises around you, it enables you to not really focus on your purpose and focus on really living that with intent. So we're going to focus a little bit on business here. So I'm not sure who all here, has worked in a business or has their own business as an entrepreneur. I'm just going to focus on some advantages of purpose and business, because there's been some really interesting studies come out recently that have related purpose and business and the advantages to really bringing purpose into your business as the new competitive advantage. So the businesses that are going to be bringing in purpose are going to have a competitive advantage over other ones who don't. There's been a study, so Forbes did a study just recently that reported only 30% of the workforce reports being actively involved, enthusiastic, and committed 100% to their jobs. I thought that was absolutely fascinating, only 30%. And they want to feel a greater sense of purpose in their work, in their jobs, with their managers, with the CEOs of the organizations they work with. And most of all, they want to know how. So it's no longer so much why, but how. How does their contribution make a difference in the bigger picture of the organization? So Nicholas Pierce is a professor at the Kellogg School of Management, and he said, it is engaging in the radical act of connecting our souls with our roles. So we want to connect our gifts, our purpose, with the roles that we're working on in our organizations and the businesses we're with, the employees with the organization, as well as, being able to voice that and communicate effectively our roles in our organization and even in our lives with our relationships to others, so that we really be able to connect our souls with that as well. Employees want a job that have a sense of purpose, and customers want to buy from companies whose brands are based on values that they personally identify with. So this is something really important. So this is Viktor Frankl wrote a book. It's a famous book called The Man's Search for Meaning. And in that book, he describes about, an experience that he had in concentration camps during World War II. And he observed that the inmates who were very more likely to survive there were the ones who focused intently on the purpose and focused on the light at the end of the tunnel, being able to connect with their families when they were free from the prison. And it was really interesting that the people who focused on the negative, of being stuck in this place and not being able to connect with people, were the people that stayed stuck the most. And the people that chose to focus on the vision of being united with their families were the ones that really had the greatest sense of purpose and fulfillment in their life. So it's about the one. So this is something Frederick Nietzsche described very, very good. And you may want to write this down, because this is something that's very profound and changed my life forever. It's not about the who. So the person who has a why to live can almost anywhere. The person who has a why to live can almost bear any how. So that's whatever. If you have a why you're here, why are you living? The how will always show up. And that's something that's very, very prolific with, what we're doing today in our businesses, creating that why are we doing what we're doing, and allowing us to really be able to connect with other people that are also in that space. So your purpose also inspires employees. It also helps people go through the hard times, get to them, gives them hope, gives them joy. So LinkedIn did a global survey recently that interviewed over 100,000 people all over the world, that found employees with a purpose were 69% less likely to quit their job than the equivalent of people who don't have a purpose. So winning in the purposeful revolution requires authenticity and breakout vulnerability as well. So we're going to do another poll here. So we're going to talk about, so poll number 3, our third poll here. So people, CEOs, managers, employees who have a defined sense of purpose are significantly more productive. So I just want you to put in there, is that true or false? From your own experience, if you have a sense of purpose, do you feel that you would be more productive or less productive? So if you feel that's true, you can just answer the poll there. So I'm just going to give you a few strategies here to uncover your purpose, and then we're going to do another breakout room, and then go into some other information, and then we'll have some time for question and answer as well. So there's some ways that you can do. So these, you might want to write these down if you're somebody who works with people, or if you've been wondering about this yourself. So there's some ways to uncover your purpose or discover your purpose in life. So the first one is to let go of your past and all that no longer serves you in your life. So sometimes we spend a lot of our time, worrying about our past instead of our present. Number 2 is to be yourself. So be yourself. Don't try to change yourself, put masks on to impress other people. Number 3, surround yourself with other like-minded individuals who also have a sense of purpose that you can possibly learn from and grow from. And then also helping somebody else. So when you help somebody else or teach somebody what you've learned. So for example, going through somebody that might come to you saying, I'm struggling with my purpose. You could say, oh, I just was at this seminar and we learned these are some strategies. I can share those with you. So when you actually share and teach others, it actually helps you become more aligned with your own purpose and feel fulfilled as well. Discovering your unique gifts is another one. Taking one step forward, moving forward each and every day, not backwards. Continue to move with purpose and service, helping others, reaching out, making a difference in other people's lives. Focusing on what you love that brings you joy. Again, I mentioned this before. What did you do as a child, maybe that you no longer do now, that you don't take time out to do? Again, trusting and surrendering in the process, and repeat. This is something that's very important with trusting and moving on, and then unconditionally loving yourself and others just as you are, and being okay with being imperfectly perfect, because none of us are perfect. I had years where I went through, I was striving for perfection, and that's something that we can never achieve. It does not exist. Again, and the last one I want to focus on just briefly is exercising, eating healthy and having a healthy mindset. And exercise you can do, take from this today, is writing down, take the next 24 hours, starting from when we leave here, keep a journal in front of you, and then really writing down your thoughts. And then at the end of the 24 hours, ranking them as, P for positive, N for negative, and just observing what your thoughts are. So that'll show you a lot about where your mindset is at, where your unconscious mind is at, and maybe some beliefs and various things. So in particular to do with yourself and other people. So this is an exercise I want you to try if you're guided as we leave here, is to really write down what you're thinking. Again, mostly to do with yourself and others, and just take note of that. And just having this awareness has the power to change so much in your mind and in your life. So we're just going to share here. The poll results are in. So we're just going to share the results from our last poll here. So John will put those up here just briefly. So John will just get those up here. And then what we're going to be talking about next is some advantages. So I don't see the poll here. I'm not sure. Does anybody else see the poll? Is it? I don't see it. Maybe I'm missing it.
You should see the results. It did pop up on my screen, unless some people didn't see it. It's actually true says 100% and false says 0%.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's very powerful. So everybody said true. So great job, everybody. So I'm going to talk lastly here a little bit about some advantages to living your purpose. So why are we talking about purpose? What is our why of actually talking about this topic of purpose or mission or, oh yeah, so there's the results there. Perfect. what can that bring into our lives? So it increases resilience, the ability to turn, situations in our life, turning lemons into lemonade is something that, increases your emotional and psychological well-being, decreases depression, decreases anxiety, suicide rates. Knowing your purpose helps you live with a life filled with meaningful purpose and integrity, as well as increased health, decreased, so cardiovascular disease is one disease when I was doing research in the medical field that has been positively linked. So people who have a decrease in sense of purpose actually have an increase in cardiovascular issues over the years and have a decreased lifespan. So we actually live longer when we have a purpose, which for me, I don't know about you guys, but I believe the longer we live, the more impact we can make, and the greater we can actually share our purpose with others. So add some other things just briefly here. Increases your productivity, increases your net income, your joy in life, being able to increase your passion, your aliveness, just your trust, your faith, increasing your courage, your grace, your flow, and decreasing fear. So this is a huge one right now in our society with media and all of this that's going on, is being able to decrease fear. So when we have a sense of purpose, I actually had the privilege of speaking with Dr. Stephen Stein a few months ago, and he's a global mental health and leadership expert here in Toronto in Canada. And he was mentioning that having a sense of purpose actually is a positive impact on our mental health. And it's been proven now scientifically that this is something that is global and no longer just North America. This is something that, a sense of purpose has actually been proven to increase your mental health and wellness and decrease, mental health illness such as depression, anxiety, suicide, bipolar disorder, all of these things in our life. So it's very important to focus on your purpose. Again, having your purpose for the day. So what I do is have, in the morning, my quiet time that I spend, I usually sit in silence and I say, okay, what are the 1 to 3 things that I need to focus on for today? What is my purpose for today? Not my purpose for my life, but my purpose for today. Okay, so we are going to go into another breakout room here. So here I want you to talk about a little bit. So if anybody's seen the movie, it's called Pleasantville. It's about, people that were living a dull black and white life, and over time they began to live their passion, and all of a sudden it was this multicolor experience that came about that led to transformation. So repression to enlightenment, and really being able to create this conscious way of living, which creates these colors in our life and miracles and blessings beyond our wildest dreams. So we have many things that come up. So we have, so we're gonna do our next breakout room, I think, here. Yeah, so people who have a sense of purpose live longer lives. So that's something that is over the board, across the board, no matter what field you're in, what business you're in, that's something, and increases your health and well-being. So we're gonna go into our breakout room. So we're gonna talk about, 3 things in life, in your own life, that bring you meaningful purpose. If you can think of 3 things, just from various things we've talked about, things that come up that you can share with the other in your group, and as well as if you do have your purpose, if you can share your purpose, what you do in your business, in your life, and what that one main purpose is in your life. We're gonna focus on that as well. So 3 things that in your life that bring meaningful purpose, and then your one main purpose in life. So we're going to talk about now. John's going to send us out to the breakout room here. You're going to have 5 minutes again to discuss these things with your group, and we'll see you back here in a few minutes.
There we go, guys. It'll send you automatically and it'll bring you back automatically. Have fun.
I'm not sure what happened. I think we're back in the breakout rooms. You guys are both muted right now.
The host, everyone's going to be coming back though.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it was interesting what you said, Angela. I think, you know, when you look back at hindsight, of course, is 2020. So maybe there's a reason you were in the military, and then a reason that you're doing fundraising right now, right? Maybe those are all,
they're all correlated. I'm seeing it already.
We are back, everyone, and we're going to honor everybody's time. We're going to try to end here right on time. Nadene is doing such a great job. How about a round of applause for Nadene? I know we can't actually hear it, but how about we just show with it? How about give her a thumbs up? Give her a thumbs up by going to reaction or a clap and let her know that you really appreciate what she's doing today. Some love is great. Thanks, Angela. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And we're actually going to have Nadene back actually in January to help with some goals. But we have speakers like this every single month, every last Wednesday of the month at 1 p.m. These are completely free, and they're called our Getting Back to Business Educational Series, where we give you the tips and tools you need to keep your business running and to get it back off the ground. And now here is the one, the only Nadene Joy to wrap up for us what she's doing today. We don't hear you yet. There you go. We don't hear you. Now we do.
Okay, there we go. It just keeps, okay. Yeah, so if anybody wants to share what came up in your breakout room and things that came up around, you know, your top 3 things that bring you meaningful purpose, just chime in the chat box. I want to see everybody typing something in here. I want to see all of the things that came up. So in our group we had family, you know, animal lover, somebody who, you know, sharing your story, being around people that you like and like you, commonalities. So those are some things that we came up with, as well as being able to be in service to others. Yeah, creating for a brand for people, helping people tell their story to the world, helping others. Yeah, exactly. So these are all wonderful. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. So just to wrap up today, I just wanted to kind of go through a little bit about what we went through. We covered a lot of content today in a very short amount of time. So I hope it wasn't too overwhelming and you kind of could follow everything. But in summary, we talked about the definition of, you know, purpose, false purpose, having, you know, clear goals, clear meaning, you know, setting a purpose for the day. Talked about, you know, we already did our exercise of, you know, setting a clear focus and intention, being able to have that focus each and every day, and having the time to yourself in silence just to listen, to let go of your thoughts, to be in the present moment, not be in the past, which creates sadness, depression, not being in the future, which creates anxiety, but being completely here in the present. Focus on service to others, helping others, you know, making a difference in anybody's lives you can. And sometimes it's as simple as, you know, extending a smile to somebody as you walk past them in the grocery store, or holding the door for somebody you don't know, or reaching out to somebody you haven't talked to for 10 years. These are just little things that we can do. And it's not about, you know, this big thing that we need to do, you know, impacting millions. It's about changing one person, one life, one community, you know, one city, one area at a time. And it starts with you. It starts with each and every one of you that are here today. And I just wanted to reiterate that you are here for a reason. You are here for a purpose, and you are loved unconditionally, and your gifts are here. There are people out there that only you can help. And again, reiterating, this is Mother Teresa's birthday, and what an honor to be speaking about purpose and love today on her birthday. So I just wanted to honor that again, and just this amazing connection with all of you today. And thank you for showing up, for being here today. And again, no matter where we're at, you know, in the world, there's, you know, you can be that light to others. You can be that light and joy and peace, you know, to other people, and be able to help them, you know, create a life filled with more meaningful purpose, and allow them to be a better version of themselves that they can be. So thank you very much. And thank you, John, for the opportunity for being here today. So we're going to open it up.
That's actually our slogan, Nate. You know, if you know that, on Franklin Lakes, our chamber, we're making our community better one day at a time, but it all starts with you.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. That is so crazy. crazy, then there you go. That's another message that everybody here is supposed to hear. I love that.
I think it's time for our questions, right, Nadine?
Yes, yes. So if
Okay, so
anybody
we're
has,
going to ask one of the questions. The first question, the way it works is when we put the question on the screen, you're going to put your answer in. It's going to tell you exactly what to do, your name, your email, and the answer to your question. The first person that Nadine sees in the chat window that has the correct answer, not the first one she sees, is actually going to be the one that's going to win. What's the first thing you're giving away first? Was it a book, Nadine? What's the first thing?
yeah, so I will be giving away a PDF copy of my book here. So it's Uncover Your Purpose, Heal, and Share Your Gifts with the World.
So the first person in the chat window, what percentage of Americans believe they have purpose in their life? First person to type their full name, email address, and the correct answer in that chat box will be our winner.
So I'll give you a hint. It was one that I said right at the very beginning of our talk. So it might be a tricky question, and it's more than, yeah, it was more than 80%. I'll give you a tip.
What percentage of Americans believe they have purpose in their life? And if we don't actually have an exact winner, we'll pick the one that's closest to it, Nadine, all right? Because they may not get the exact number.
Perfect. So just take a guess. If you haven't, if you don't know, if you don't remember, just take a guess and we'll pick the number that's the closest and we'll let you know the right answer.
Has everybody entered?
Okay, so has everybody put their answer down? So I think, so the correct answer was 83%. And this is just to do with any type of purpose, not just, your whole life mission purpose. So your purpose for the day, a purpose that you're here for. Okay, so it looks like Maria, it looks like, was closest.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's okay.
So you can go ahead and just private message me in the chat, and I will make sure that I get your information off to Nadine, and she will get you a book. Hopefully enhance the quality of your life. And now we have a second question. And how many of you ever heard of a Kleenex before, right? How about this question? What were Kleenex tissues originally, what were Kleenex tissues usually intended and invented for? Question number two.
This is one that I mentioned when we were talking about the concentration camps, and yeah, it might be a difficult question too, but it has to do with what we wear on our face right now because of COVID. Let me give you a hint. So just take a guess. If you don't know, you just take a guess what you think it might be.
Okay, we'll stop the share. And do we have an answer there?
Yeah. So yeah, the Kleenex was actually, because you notice a Kleenex has more than one layer, right? So it was actually developed during World War II as a gas mask because they didn't have money to actually create real gas masks. They developed the Kleenex as a gas mask. So I thought it was an interesting fact to share about right now, just with all of the masks.
Who's our winner? We have a winner.
So we have, who is the first to put? So Tracy, it looks like, because Tracy had her information at the top.
We will wrap up in like 1-2 minutes. I do value your time. I apologize. We're going over 1 or 2 minutes. Just bear with us. We'll move right quick. Before we go to our last question, of course, please register for the Franklin Lakes Virtual Table-to-Table Network, the only table-to-table network event with a human scavenger hunt. You can register at franklinlakechamber.org right now for just $6 and have a quality networking experience online. And now for our last question of the day, which is going to be, Everybody see my question?
No.
Not yet. I might take a second just to pop up there. Can you see it now? Zoom has been a little slow today. Whose birthday is celebrated today who contributed a phenomenal legacy to lives globally to bring greater love, service, and purpose to all? Hint, she would have been 110 years old today. Whose birthday is celebrated today who contributed a phenomenal legacy to lives globally to bring greater love, service, and purpose to all? So incidentally, the second prize, we forgot to tell you, the second prize was actually for a 60-minute coaching session, and the last prize is for a 30-minute consult with Nadene.
Oh my gosh.
Again, if you did win, please be sure to message me privately, and I will get these out to Nadene within 24 hours. If you like our events and you like the quality of the stuff we do here at the Franklin Lakes Chamber, just pick up your phone and type in net events and type in 888-111. That's net events to 888-111. And as soon as we create an event, it'll go right to your phone and let you be able to register for it. Who's our winner here, Nadene?
So it was Mother Teresa. So I'm not sure who had the first, who said it first. Was it Tracy?
Let's see if we can see here. It looks like the first person to say it was Tracy. All right. Well, listen, I want to thank very much. I want to thank Nadene for her time today and all of her time with obviously putting together everything that we've been doing and working with everything, because I think it's been a pretty amazing experience. I think, Nadene, you enjoyed all the videos and everything we did together. I think it definitely went. It definitely went very, very well. And as we just take a moment here to wrap up, I should have asked everybody I had permission to unmute themselves if you want to say anything. Nadene, I just want to thank you very much for working with us and your time and your patience with all the hours doing those videos online doing such a super job.
Thank you so much, John. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and I really enjoyed it today. So thanks for the opportunity.
Glad you guys are all able to speak. If there's anybody that would like to say something quickly, we have a minute or two before we go by. Does anybody want to say anything to the group? I have actually given everyone permission to speak. Well, again, I want to thank you very much for attending the Franklin Lakes Chamber's Getting Back to Business educational series, where we educate you on the tips and techniques you need to keep your business running and to get it back off the ground. For more information on us, just visit franklinlakeschamber.org, and to find out about the latest events that we're putting on, just text 888-111, net events to 888-111, and we will see you real soon. If you'd like a rebroadcast of this, just go to our website, or you can go to the Franklin Lakes Chamber YouTube channel. Within 24 hours, this video will be available for all to see. And we hope that you have enjoyed this. And let's go ahead and give Nadene a thumbs up if you really enjoyed this presentation today. Okay, and we're going to take a quick picture. Everybody smile. All right. I hope you've all enjoyed this presentation. And we will see you again soon. And Nadene will be back actually with us right in, it'll be January sometime, to help you guys decide about your goals. But remember, the things that we don't think about are the things that actually happen. Our subconscious runs our mind. And if we think elsewise, well, then it's time for us to change the program, because once the hardware gets ingrained, the software cannot be changed overnight. I bid you well, and I thank you all for joining us today at the Franklin Lakes Chamber's Getting Back to Business series, and I wish you a great day.